This is Abbas here for iBoxing. I'm joined by Wade. Wade, what a press conference. We knew it was going to be chaotic, but could you expect it to be as bad as it was?
Not really, and it wasn't from the expected person, really. It was Darren Till that kind of kicked off a lot. I mean, yeah, you expect it from Dylan Dennis because Dylan is a provocateur, but Darren really was on a different level today. I'd seen him rile up Tommy Fury and get in his head, but it almost felt like there was something way more personal about this thing, him and Luke. I don't really know. I'll have to go back home and see kind of what made it all start. But Darren was really on a different level today. Luke was matching the energy. Dylan was in there in the fray. Amadeus Ferrari was going crazy. Raheem as well. And it was just chaos, man.
I was going to say, I spoke to Darren yesterday, and he talked about respect with Luke as well. So it did kind of surprise me that this happened. In terms of the actual...
Right? You know what I mean? It felt like both of them, I mean, maybe more on Darren's side, really looks at Luke as someone that he looked up to, you know, fighting. And Luke was a world champion. But maybe it's the lack of reciprocated respect from Luke. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it was definitely different and odd from Darren today.
What do you think of the main event? Like, where do you see it going in terms of... Obviously, Luke's making his debut. But we saw Darren make his debut against someone who we called Mr. Misfits in AT. He got the job done quite quickly, or quite easily, you could say. Do you think that could be the case in this one? Or
I mean, Luke's a big guy. He's bigger than me fighting at whatever the weight is in the 190 somewhere. Darren's a little bit smaller, so, you know, take that into account. They just said it was going to be 8 rounds. I don't know if that's how deals get done. So take that with a grain of salt.
Anything can happen.
True.
We're doubling pay as well.
True. I mean, they were trying to get my man Sean Hemphill to take his freaking belt and put it on the line. That's not legal. They can't do that either. But, you know, it is what it is. The WBA would have a fit over that. But at the end of the day, like, that main event is going to come down to how much Luke Rockhold has learned how to box. Point blank period. Right? If he can't and he hasn't learned it and his hands aren't great, then Darren Till's going to win. If he has learned and he's able to put some weight behind his shots and he's able to keep Darren off him, then we got a fight on our hands, right? And Luke can maybe turn the tide there. But I would say do not just think this is a foregone conclusion that Darren Till can and will win. I think Luke Rockhold is more motivated than I've seen him in a long time.
I've got to ask about El Kukui making his debut. Like, just as fans of combat sport, how amazing is it just to see him back in the ring? I know
it's incredible.
People do criticize the fact that obviously it was time to call it a day when it came to the MMA side of things, but he carried on. Is it also potentially a chance to see a reality check if he loses badly to Salt Papi?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if Tony wants to fight, and it's clear he does, there's not a safe fight out there. Who are you going to give him in the UFC that's a safe fight? Who in the now deceased GFL are you going to give him that's a safe fight? Who in bare knuckle? We could go on and on. So coming to Misfits was probably the biggest platform he could be on, not even probably, is a chance for him to reinvent himself. And whether you believe that he should be fighting or shouldn't, fighting's dangerous, right? And Tony has taken that challenge over and over, and it looks like he's found some sort of, you know, fountain of youth. The way he's talking, he was more composed today than I've seen him in a long time. And listen, Salt Papi's dangerous, and I think Tony knows that. So I think we're in for a good co-main event.
Finally, quickly, I want to ask about Dylan Dennis before we talk about a couple of other fights. How much do you just enjoy this man just being out there, just causing chaos?
I love Dylan. I know that he's not the most popular guy ever, and we got security guys here. They probably hate him, but Dylan is a provocateur, man. He understands how to get clicks, how to find ways to get under people's skin, and this time he's going in there and he's going to fight, right? It's been a bit of a, you know, muddy water with Misfits and Dylan. There was a fight scheduled that it didn't happen, and then KSI pulled out of the other one. So this is Dylan's opportunity in MMA, not boxing, to come in and show what he can do when the fight starts. We know he's a great promoter. We know, like I said, he's going to get under people's skin, but now it's time for him to go and show his real skill. And I'm telling you, he has such good grappling skill that people just sleep on. And I know that they want to see a stand-up fight, but you booked him in an MMA fight. He's going to do what he does best. And if that happens and he does get a hold of Warren Spencer, it's going to be a short night.
I want to just move away from Misfits, but into Canelo Crawford.
Yes.
We're around the corner for it. Obviously, with the Ring magazine, talk to me about it. Where's your head at when it comes to that particular fight? What are we, 2.5, 3 weeks out?
Yeah, a couple weeks out now. I'm still leaning Canelo, man. I just saw Jerron Boots Ennis in camp with Canelo. That was a big time, you know, change for me because I feel like I've been flipping back and forth every day on who I think can win and why. But when you have someone like Boots come into camp, and I'm not saying that Terrence Crawford's not getting good sparring and not having, you know, a great camp. I'm sure he's having the best camp and doing all he can because he's going to need to. He's stepping up 2 weight classes. He's fighting the undisputed champion. He's the one that's making a lot of the sacrifices here. And it means more to his legacy being 3 times undisputed. But at the end of the day, size and weight classes matter. Canelo, I feel still, people are acting like Canelo's the old man and Terrence Crawford's older, right? I just think that the performances have kind of made it look like Canelo's not as checked in. He's checked in for this one. I do want to see how he handles a bit of the switching his stance of Terrence Crawford, how some of that counter-punching Terrence Crawford will do. But I think if Bud is going to win, he's got to stop Canelo from just walking him down, right? He can't be on the back foot and circling like William Skull did. He's going to have to at least put a foot in the ground and make Canelo respect him at some point. I'm not saying you got to push him back like Bivol did because that's a 175-pounder. But I think there's going to have to be a little bit of a different fight here from Bud that he has in the last couple. So I'm still leaning Canelo, but, man, Fight Week's going to be incredible. The Ring is doing an underdog series that starts on Fight Week from Vegas. They're doing so many big activations. I don't know what I'm going to be a part of yet, but I am going to be there, so tune in. We'll see.
One final one. I have to ask you, Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis.
Yeah.
Just give me your thoughts on it. Does it somewhat legitimize Jake Paul in terms of what he actually wanted to do by hosting this exhibition?
I mean, the exhibition won't legitimize Jake in the fans of, or in the eyes of boxing fans.
So it delegitimized what he wants to do. Yeah.
That may happen, but then again, they've told you what it is. Gervonta Davis has told you he doesn't care about being a world champion. Jake has told you he's going to do these massive exhibitions, these big-time events, and that's what he's doing, right? I'm not the biggest fan of it being Gervonta because of how big Jake is, how small Gervonta is, but at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and they've told you they're going to put on these exhibitions. Gervonta's told you he doesn't care about being best in the world anymore. It is what it is, you know. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to cover it. I'm in for the circus show, but it is just that. It's not going to be anything where, you know, you can blur the lines between pro and exhibition. It's an exhibition. That weight class difference is way too big, and Jake is way more skilled than people give him credit for. So as far as what happens, I think it'll be one of those fights that no one gets knocked out in, and both guys get their hand raised at the end of, and people get very upset about.
One final one for me. Last time we spoke, or the first time we spoke, was actually the Eubank Ben press conference.
Yeah, okay.
Talk to me, the rematch is here now.
I just saw Conor, man. Yeah. I just saw him.
How do you think the rematch goes?
I'm picking Conor right away, and I know that's not the popular pick because, you know, Chris Eubank outboxed him the last time and maybe got a feel for the power that Conor Ben has, but I think that Conor got a feel for that weight class, is a little bit younger, is on the way up. That weight cut is a brutal one, it feels like, for Chris Eubank Jr., and I just think that if it's going to be at 160 again, this is Conor Ben's last big opportunity to make that statement for the whole rivalry of the families. And he hurt him big time in the first fight a couple of different times. I think, you know, obviously things that he needs to do a little different technically for sure, but I just think the adjustments that he has to make are less than the adjustments that Chris Eubank has to make to even get down to the weight and to protect himself at that weight. So I'm going to be in the minority when I say that, but I'm taking Conor Ben.
Wade, I want to thank you for your time, man. Enjoy the rest of Manchester and see you on Saturday night.
Thanks, brother.